Hello, geometry scholars! Today we're going to be continuing our work with algebraic proofs. Before we begin, as per usual, please make sure you have your notes, something to write with, and a calculator to help you follow along as we go. If at any time the video goes too fast, or you simply just missed something, feel free to pause, rewind, or rewatch anything you may have missed. Alright folks, let's get into our work today, continuing what we've already learned about algebraic proofs. Now in the previous section we had some equations where we had to solve each equation and find a value for the variable. In this section we're still going to be solving our equation, but our answers are going to be looking a little bit different. Instead of getting something like x equals 2, we're going to find something like x equals 2y. Our answers will still be variable answers instead of numerical, but our process will still be the same. So let's give it a try. Our first example, example 4, on page 15 of your section 2.5 note packet, says, the cost C of using a certain cell phone plan can be modeled by the plan rate formula. C equals 0.3 times the quantity m minus 300 plus 39.99, where m represents the number of minutes over 300. We want to solve our formula for m. Now, in a problem like this where we have multiple variables, when we're solving for a variable, it means to isolate the variable, get it by itself, which is really going to be the same process we have used when we had only one variable in the equation. Now we're still going to start this the same way. We're going to start with our given equation, which in this case is C equals 0.3 times the quantity m minus 300 plus 39.99. From here, our goal is to get m by itself. We want to isolate this variable, meaning we want to get everything else to the opposite side of the equation. So I'm going to start with this 39.99. I'm going to subtract that to the other side using my inverse operation. Everything else will stay the same. To move this over, notice I said subtraction, so that's really my reason. From here, I'm going to actually distribute my 0.3 through the quantity. So that I can get rid of my parentheses and simplify things a little bit. So that will give me 0.3m minus, well, let's see, 0.3 times 300. 90. And this act of multiplying through the quantity, we call that our distributive property. So I use distribution. Again, still trying to get m by itself, so now I'll move the 90 to the other side. So I'm going to use addition to move it across. Remember, inverse operations. It's a negative 90. To move it over, we need to add it. So let's do a negative 39.99 plus 90. That'll give me 50.01. My last step needs to be moving this 0.3 to the opposite side. Right now it's 0.3 times m. To move it over, I will use the opposite operation, which is division. Now on this one, the division is going to look a little bit different than perhaps we might think initially, because we can't simplify. On our other steps, we were able to combine like terms or simplify. Here, with the division, we have to leave it as a fraction because there's nothing to divide. Be careful, the 50 does not divide by the 0.03 because the c has to divide as well. We can't simplify one of our numbers on top without simplifying the other. So this would actually be our final answer. Not the prettiest of answers, but it is correct. Number 5. We have the formula for the area of a trapezoid. Area A equals 1/2 h times the quantity b1 plus b2, where h is our height and the b values are the bases. This time we want to solve the formula for b1. So we want to get this value by itself. We want to isolate this. We want to move everything else to the opposite side. Folks, I'd like you to take a moment, pause the video, and try it. See what you can do to get b1 by itself. Now, depending on the solution method you use, you might not fill every single blank below. You might have some left, or you might need to add some more to the bottom, depending upon how you think about it. Pause the video, try it now. Isolate b1. Alright, now that you've had a moment to try it, let's see what you came up with. Hopefully you at least started with the given equation. We know that we need to start with the information we are given, the information we know, and then from there we can see what we can do with it. Okay. Now I've got a couple of options. I could distribute the 1/2 h through the quantity, as I did in the previous problem, and that would be okay. Or I could think about, well, 1/2 times h times the quantity. I'm multiplying here. Well, what's the opposite of multiplication? It's division. So I could divide both sides by h to get h to the other side. So here is one option I could take. Again, I could use division. 1/2 times our quantity. Well, to move the 1/2, I can divide by 1/2. Now remember, dividing by 1/2 is the same as multiplying by 2, because our fraction is, in essence, division. 1 divided by 2. Well, to change division, we use multiplication. So that's the rule I'm going to use. I'm going to say multiplication, specifically by a value of 2. If I multiply 1/2 by 2, it cancels, and I'll multiply by 2 on the other side. Again, I'm trying to get b1 by itself, so I really only have one more step. I need to remove b2 to the other side. It's a positive on the right-hand side, so to move it to the left, I'll make it a negative, which means I'm going to subtract b2 to the opposite side of the equation. So I did not need, for this solution method, the final step. Alright folks, that's it for your video today. We'll see you in class next time.